All right. Now looks like we're live. Hey, everyone. Does it look like it is buffering those minutes, or does it look like we are fully live? Can you tell, Chloe?
One moment while I check.
Okay, thanks. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Wordfence Office Hours. We are just double checking all of our technology. It looks like the stream did not make it from Zoom immediately over to YouTube for the first couple of minutes. So we're double checking to make sure where we are at in terms of what we're talking about over to YouTube. Thank you for joining us. If we are buffering. Just to give you a quick overview of what we're doing here today, because we have not been able to go to WordCamps and whatnot, we've missed seeing you. And we think maybe you have missed seeing us. And we haven't been able to talk to WordPress security in person at WordCamps, and we wanted to share the knowledge. And for those of you just getting started with WordPress, we wanted to make sure that you have what you need in order to secure your WordPress installations. How are things looking, Chloe?
You are all good.
We are all good. Okay, great. All right. Well, I will just keep chatting for a little bit. Chloe's going to join us in just a couple of minutes. We're going to get started in probably a minute or so and start talking about the WordPress database and why it's so important and why hackers target that. So Wordfence is a security plugin. It is installed on over 3 million sites worldwide. And we are a small company of about 35 people. We are also worldwide. We are a remote team. So we're all coming from various locations around the world. And we work together to secure WordPress. We are on 3 million sites, as I mentioned, and we have a security scanner that will tell you, if you have plugins that have vulnerabilities. If you have been hacked, it'll let you know that there's malware on your site. And we'll show you a little bit about how Wordfence works with that. But we also have a firewall, and that firewall is incredibly powerful. That firewall will block malicious attacks. And some of the built-in protections, for example, against cross-site scripting, are some amazing tools that keep WordPress safe. There are over 50,000 plugins in the WordPress repo, which is great. It's one of the reasons that WordPress is so popular, is that you can basically do so many different things with it. That you can have a commerce site, you can have a learning management system, you can have a membership site, you can have a personal blog, you can create a newspaper with WordPress. There are so many different things you can do with WordPress, but with all of those various plugins and various coding standards, there can slip in a vulnerability. And if you're not updating your plugins, you run the risk of being attacked and being hacked. And of course, because WordPress is installed on so many sites, it is powering over 35% of the web right now. It is the most popular content management system for a reason, because it is so powerful and you can do so many things with it. But because of that, hackers obviously understand economies of scale, and they are going to go after the big fish in the pond rather than trying to, find a custom coded site and how do I get into this? They're going to go after things that they know have the biggest bang for their buck. So WordPress is under attack because of that. So it's really important that security is a part of what you're doing with WordPress. Chloe, how are things? Where are you right now? Are you you're in Florida?
Yes, I'm in Florida.
You are, and you have your elephant behind you again. We often get asked about your big pink elephant behind you in the chat during Wordfence office hours. Can you tell us a little bit more about that for people who are new to office hours?
Yeah, so my pink elephant is from a local artist that makes figurines, I guess, out of tubes. And so it's called Tube Dude, and I have my awesome Tube Dude elephant because elephants are my favorite. And yeah.
Excellent. Great. That is so cool. We love that. Does your Tube Dude have a name?
No. Maybe I
No.
should give her a name. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're just really happy the Two Dude is joining us again for office hours. That's always, we like to keep things fun. You know, security is serious business, but Wordfence is a very fun team. And I always tell our CEO, Mark Monder, I always tell him that, you know, I'm here for the lulls. I'm here for the fun. I'm here because it's such a great team, and people like Chloe are the people who make it so much fun. So if you are looking for a fun place to work, if you want to work remotely, if you want to work, Chloe, what are some of the interesting places you've worked? You've worked in Alaska?
Yeah, Alaska. I've worked on a cruise ship going through Norway. I've worked. I didn't get to work in China. My VPN was blocked. But I worked from Japan. Yeah, some cool
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, really cool. And Chloe's actually got a talk up on our YouTube channel where she talks about remote working and working as a nomad. It's really interesting. So look for that in on our YouTube channel. She did that talk at WordCamp Phoenix before all the crazy stuff in the world happened. But we're hiring. If you want to be like Chloe, if you think that WordPress security is fascinating, like we do, and you want to work with a team that is so supportive and so kind and so encouraging, but also incredibly smart and encourages you to bring your A game and to think bigger. We are hiring. We're looking for a number of different positions. You can find those on the Wordfence site. Somewhere at the bottom, there's a link to careers, and we'll have a new job listed later today. So you'll want to take a look at that, because we are looking for additional people to help support Wordfence customers. So that is coming up. If you are looking for product specific videos, we have some of those on the YouTube channel as well. Those will help you get started with installing Wordfence, getting set up with the firewall and configuring that, Wordfence login security, which is another big part of WordPress security. Wordfence Central is our management tool. It's a basically a portal where you can, you know, connect all of your sites and see all of your security alerts prioritized, so you know what you need to take care of quickly. Because we've noticed that if you have one WordPress site, you probably have a number of them, just because WordPress makes it so easy to start publishing online. So we wanted to make a tool that helps people with multiple WordPress sites take care of the security across the board there. So Wordfence, you know, with the security tool, has a number of different techniques for clearing malware out of your site, detecting when you get hacked. So there is a video that we did not too long ago, a few weeks ago, with Wordfence Office Hours, where we showed you how to clean a hacked site. And most of the hacks we see, it's like a PHP file that's added to your site. And so this video goes through and shows you how to use the Wordfence scanner to actually clean a site using Wordfence, and it's walks you through all of that. And today we're going to take a look at how to do that with the database, because if stuff is in the database, it's not in PHP files, and it's a little bit different. And Chloe and I both worked on the site cleaning team here at Wordfence, the security services team. So we have both had some experiences with that WordPress database. So we're going to walk you through that today. And just as a note, if we have a chat going on, which you can probably see on the right side of your screen, and Tim Cantrell, our leads customer service engineer, and Ram Gall, one of our threat analysts who also finds vulnerabilities like Chloe does, are in there answering any kinds of questions. If you have a question that's specific to your site, however, this is obviously a public forum. You don't want to put any kind of personally identifiable information into a chat, no matter where you are. You don't want that information public. So if you have a question specific to one of your sites, send us an email at feedback@wordfence.com and put office hours in the subject line of that email, and we can answer that in a more secure way. And then another note, we just want to highlight that any of the vulnerabilities we are discussing today are patched already. We obviously would not be talking about anything that could be exploited now. Just make sure all your plugins are updated and you are safe. But we do want to show you how hackers can take over sites that are running vulnerable plugins. So we're going to show you how that happens, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So Chloe, you ready to get started?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Okay. And it looks like chat seems to be going pretty well. So let's get started talking just about sort of the framework of WordPress. WordPress, when you're using a WordPress site, you have a number of PHP files, and those are stored on a server. And those files connect to a database. And that database might be a MySQL database. It might be a Maria database. I'm sure some people put it into SQL Server and other things, but for the most part, you're going to see PHP files on a Linux server connecting to a MySQL database. And the database is really important because that's where content is being stored. So your posts, when you write a post for your blog, or if you have a membership site, all of your members are stored in the database. If you have a commerce site, all of your products are stored there. If you just have a brochure site, that's basically if you're a real estate agent and you have a site and you just have a few pages on your site and you don't really have a blog or any news that you're using posts, those pages, the content of those pages are also stored in that database. So the reason why it's really helpful for WordPress to use a database, I don't know if you've noticed, but the web of 2020 is very different than the web of, say, 2001. It's way different, but maybe the content is the same. Maybe, your bio on your site is the same and you just make a few edits to that, but you want the site design to be flexible. And then one of the powerful things about WordPress is you can basically change your theme, change your design, but the content can remain the same. So you redesign your site so that it kind of goes with current standards and makes your site look fresh, but you don't have to go like rebuild every individual page because that content's all stored in the database. And a database is basically, if you're familiar with spreadsheets, like Google Sheets or Excel, a database is basically like a collection of tables. And those tables really look like spreadsheets. It's information. So you would have a bunch of posts, and those posts have different fields. So if you look at the actual posts table, you basically see something that looks like an Excel spreadsheet. And so you'll have a post ID, which is a number that basically is unique to each post. You might have a post title, you'll have post body text and post the date that something was posted. And all of this information is stored in a database. And then there's some meta information about these posts, and that's stored in a table called post meta. So these tables are basically how things are organized, and your PHP files that are on your server, that's what your site visitors will hit. Those PHP files know how to talk to that WordPress database. But because that database contains all of your content, it's really juicy for attackers. Chloe, why do attackers target that WordPress database, and what are some of the things that you've seen them do?
Yeah, so they'll use it to inject links and backlinks to their site and redirect your site to their site. And it's mostly for monetary gain, but what they are, why they're putting those links there is so they can get some backlinks for SEO. Their ranking is going to search higher. More people are going to find their site. They're going to make more money. Or with the redirects, it's going to redirect to their site. Maybe they'll download some malicious script to your computer from accessing that malicious redirected URL. There's several different reasons, but I would say one of the top ones is monetary gain.
Yeah. That's typically what all of these hackers are up to. There's some. I remember back when the REST API had a vulnerability, and I think I have battle wounds from February 2017, and there were defacement contests, and it was really easy to exploit the REST API vulnerability in WordPress version 4.7. It was relatively new, being added to WordPress, and there was some security missing. And I think that's the last major core vulnerability that we have seen with WordPress core. And there were some defacement contests that happened then, but profit motive seems to really money. Everybody's after some. So what are some of the attacks that you've seen? Have you seen anything lately that has been really targeting the database?
I believe RAM published a post that attackers were using directory traversal vulnerabilities to get access to the WP config file steal those credentials from there and then access the database. And
Gotcha.
And that's where you can start injecting things and modifying the posts and pages and options and anything that's in that database.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So that's one very important PHP file. And that's the thing that has your database credentials. So just like you have a login into WP admin, there's a login for your PHP files to log into that MySQL WordPress database that contains all of your posts. And that WP config file, if it's not protected, can leak those types of credentials. And then there's ways that hackers can get at the database and add things to your posts or add things to your options table. Options table has things like your site title, your site tagline, the actual site URL. And we've seen some attacks where they've actually taken the site URL and changed it to a malicious redirect, redirecting just to another site. So these are the types of things. This is why the database is so important. And these are the types of things that hackers are doing. So there's a tool that many hosting accounts will give you, and it's called PHP My Admin. And this is usually resident in like your cPanel. You can find this in your cPanel, and it gives you a look at that database that exists behind your WordPress site. So it basically, you can look at all of those tables. You can see the raw content of your posts. You can change content of your posts. And Chloe's going to show us deeply how to do those types of things as she gets into this. So this is just a tool. You can also back up your database using PHP My Admin. So this is a useful tool that most hosting providers will provide to you so that you can access your database without, using the WP admin tool. So it's a very important tool to get familiar with. So Chloe, do you want to get started showing how to clean the database of malware and what we need to do to get started?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Can you see that all right?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. All right, so today I'm going to be Sally, and we're going to go check out Sally's cat blog real quick. Make sure everything's going smoothly. This is my blog. I just like to check up on it every now and then. All right. I'm excited to see my blog.
And just can I add because we did get somebody who said we don't think this is really Sally's cat blog, and I just want to let people know that we really like cats. We have an actual channel. We have a channel at work called Office Paws. We like dogs too, but I have made some jokes about, you can do anything with WordPress from, selling, really expensive things and making millions of dollars to putting up pictures of cats. And Sally's cat blog needs to be protected just as much as a very important commerce site. And so Sally's cat blog came from that. It is not really somebody else's blog. It's just kind of our fun. We're not trying to lie to anyone or anything. It's just we're having fun. But oh no, what happened to Sally's blog? It doesn't look the same. Chloe, what'd you do?
Oh my goodness. Hacked by cool cats. My site has totally redirected to this obscene site by cool cats. I just hacked the planet. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
That cat looks pretty malicious, man.
Oh yeah. Let me double check. Maybe I just did something wrong. Okay. Oh no. I think my site might have been hacked by cool cats. These bad cool cats. So let me see if I can access the back end of my site at least. Maybe I'll be able to do that. Okay, I can access the back end, so I should be able to log in, see how things are going. Okay, cool. So I can access the back end of my site. So what should I do now? Well, I remember a friend a while back told me about Wordfence. I didn't install it at the time, but they said they used it to clean their hacked site. Maybe I should check that out. I'm going to go ahead and install Wordfence real quick to help me out. And disclaimer, I have it already installed. I'm just going to go ahead and activate it. But at this point, Sally would have been installing it and activating it. So I'm going to go ahead and activate it.
Excellent. Yeah. First thing that we recommend you do if you're getting started with WordPress, install Wordfence just get started, start from the beginning. Better that than to be hacked by cool cats, right?
Yep. And we'll show you why at the end, why Wordfence is very important. And so we'll go ahead and run to the scan. And since I had this installed beforehand, I ran a scan. But if this was Sally's first time installing Wordfence, she'd have to start a new scan to go ahead and get the malware scan and content safety checked out. So what we see with our scan results is that we have some content safety issues, some malware scan issues, vulnerability scan issues, and server state issues. So if we scroll down, oh, okay, we see that we have a page that contains suspected malware URL. Okay, this, I definitely didn't put this URL here. Oh man, what am I gonna do? So let's see. So it says it's in the home page. Let me go check out the home page and see if I can spot this URL in there. Home. All right, checking it out. Nothing yet. Oh, I see the URL right here. All right, let me take a closer look at editing as HTML so I can see all the details in there. Okay, I see this. So we have a link to this site, and then we have a redirect to this site up here. And just to explain to you a little bit about this, I have a script with one of my personal sites to redirect to the bad cool cats site. And currently this URL is not on the Wordfence blacklisted domain, so it's not going to be picked up by the Wordfence scan. And so I added this link to this domain just so we could pick that up in the Wordfence scan and show you that we've been hacked. And so the reason why not all URLs are going to be captured through the Wordfence scan is not all malicious, or not all URLs are malicious. And so those are updated continuously, and we add them all the time. Kathy, do you know how many we have blacklisted currently that would be flagged?
Yeah, Rand let us know this morning that there's close to 13,000 domains on the blacklist right now.
Okay, so that means 13,000 URLs, if they're injected into my post, will get picked up by the Wordfence scan.
Right.
Awesome.
Now, but hackers, like, say if somebody hacks into Dave's dog blog, right, and puts malicious content there and then adds a link, but we haven't detected that content yet. Maybe they just did it yesterday, and then they add a link here to your site that is redirecting to Dave's dog blog, and then that redirects to someplace else. You might not see that, right?
I might not see that directly without.
You might not see that. Wordfence would not necessarily flag that. So it could be, like multiple levels of redirection that could happen, right?
Yeah.
Could. Okay, I'm getting off into the weeds.
Are you referring to a non-malicious URL or just a?
Yeah, well, like your redirection to the POCwalkthrough.com. That's not a malicious URL, but it is malicious because it's got Elliot the bad guy.
Yeah, so we pick up new ones and add them to the domain blacklist as we find them, and we try and make that as smooth of a process as possible to try and capture everything out there. Unfortunately, it's not possible to do it all the time, but we do our best to try and capture everything that we possibly can.
Right.
As they're discovered.
Right, exactly. So you could have a malicious link on your site that we haven't detected. Our threat intelligence does pick up. There are currently, 13,000 sites on that list, but just because Wordfence doesn't flag it doesn't mean it's not necessarily malicious. So just something to keep in mind, that we are always playing a sort of a cat and mouse game with hackers. But 13,000, that's a lot of malicious domains right now.
Yep. All right. So let's just keep this copied and pasted somewhere just so we can have it for reference, just so we know what we're working with. And so the next thing we want to do is we want to begin our cleanup. So we're going to go to the cPanel. I'm using Bluehost as my host, and we're going to want to access phpMyAdmin. And so the first step we're going to do is we're going to create a backup of our database. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create an entire backup of the entire database. And how you do this is you go to export. You can do quick or you can do custom. You can pick out what tables you want to do. I'm going to do quick, and then you can also choose what format you want. For today, I'm going to go ahead and do a SQL, and I'm going to click go, and then I'm just going to save the file. And then now, since we know our infection is in the post, I'm going to go to the post table. I'm going to create a backup of this table specifically, since that's what we're going to be working mostly with today. So go to export SQL, and it's going to export all the rows from just this table. Go, save file. And so that one's going to act as our backup. And I want to go ahead and take another one that we're going to work with. So today I'm going to show you 3 different methods to cleaning out this type of infection from your database. And the first one I'm going to start with is probably my most recommended, just because you're not working directly in the database, and it prevents a lot of issues from happening. If you have a larger database with a lot of content, and exporting it off the site isn't going to be an option to go and clean it. I'll show you how to do that later. But so we're going to go ahead and do this again. Save file. And now I'm going to go ahead and open up this file. So let's go to downloads. I'm going to open this one, and I'm going to open it in a text editor. I'm going to use Mousepad, but you can use whatever text editor you want that has a search and a find and replace function. And so I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and I'm going to take a look here. So this is our SQL dump. Kathy, would you like to tell us a little bit more about our dump here?
Sure. Okay, so phpMyAdmin has a number of different methods of extracting data out of your database. Like Chloe was saying, you could download the entire database, or you can just, and you can do that as a backup, which is really helpful. Or you can just take a certain table, which is kind of like that Excel spreadsheet, and you can export that out. Now, a SQL database has a specific language that it uses in order to add, edit, or delete content out of that database. And that language is SQL, which is structured query language, and it has a specific syntax to it. So what Chloe's showing you here is basically a SQL file that, if you can see sort of at the top, it says create table, and it's got a name for that tables, which is, for this particular database, it's C33_posts. And you see all of those different yellow fields down there. It says ID, post author, post date, post content, title. All of those things are different fields or different cells within that database that stores your content. And so you can actually, from this particular file that Chloe's working with, you can actually create a new table. And then down at the bottom, you see where it says insert into, and then it says the table name, and then all of the different fields, the different cells of that table. And then basically it's, has commas between those, and then it has values after it says insert, and then the table name and all of those cell names. Then it has the content as insert values below that. So that's basically what Chloe's working with here, is an SQL file. Now, if you export it out, like say a comma separated values, it would be the same content, but it would be a little bit more difficult to get that back into the database. So that's why I think, Chloe, you're working with this SQL file. Am I guessing right?
You're guessing right.
Oh, cool.
Thank you for that explanation. So
no problem. That's what I'm here for, explanations.
So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy our malicious redirect and our backlink. And let me just try and open this so you can see the whole thing. This is very slow. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. And all those backslashes there are important too, aren't they? That we're seeing in the content. Yeah.
To escape those
you're going to tell
quotation marks. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Because quotation marks are what you're telling in the SQL language. That's how you're telling what stuff you're inserting. So if you're inserting a quotation mark, you have to escape that so that the SQL command will ignore it and actually insert that quotation mark.
Exactly.
Tune in next time for SQL 101 with Kathy.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
All right, so I'm having just a little bit of trouble trying to get this whole thing open. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to search, go to find and replace. So this is what you're going to be doing in your text editor to get rid of all these malicious links. And so what we're going to want to do is search for that script. And I had you copy that in the post table. And so let me go ahead and pull that back up. I have it copied as well. And I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it here. And again, as we just mentioned, when you copy it directly from the site, you might not have these, is that a forward slash or a backslash? Backslash. I think it's forward, back. I don't know.
To escape
yeah,
is back.
Back. Thank you. I was having a brain fart. So we're going to.
No problem.
Backslash.
But that only happens when you're live on YouTube.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
We're going to backslash those quotation marks. So if you copied it directly from your post, you're going to have to make sure you're backslashing those.
Right.
And so we're going to replace it with nothing because we don't want anything there. And then we're going to make sure that replace all in document is selected. We can see that we have 256 occurrences, which sounds about right because we have about 256 rows. And if the attacker infected all my rows and all the post content, then that sounds about right. So what we're going to do is click the replace all. And now we have 0 occurrences. And so now this should refresh. And if we scroll down a little bit, we can see that those scripts that were right here and those links are now gone. So that redirect and, and the backlink. And so what we want to do now is we want to save this so we can import it back into our database. Save.
Excellent.
So that should be saved now. And what we'll want to do is we'll want to, so this is the next thing that you do. So you're going to want to either drop the post table completely, or you just want to rename it and re-upload the post table. And so for today, I'm just going to drop it completely since I have a backup and I feel pretty comfortable with working here. So I'll drop that post table.
You are braver than me.
Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and import it. The one that we just cleaned up, it's this one right here. I'm going to open SQL. We're all good. Just click go. So this is just importing that file that we just cleaned up. And 1 second while it does its magic.
Yeah, I would always import, like I do in the SQL file, I would actually change the name of the table, global replace the same thing to like post_new, and then I would rename the tables. That was my way of doing it because I was always too scared of dropping and then like losing internet or something.
Yeah, that's what I would do most of the time. Yeah. I'm just feeling brave today. And so
something about cat blogs makes us more brave, I guess.
And so as we scroll down, we can see that we have a bunch of rows inserted, and that's just from that document, the SQL, it was just inserting those rows and creating the table and everything. And then we go back to that post table. We can scroll through and we can see that we're missing all the redirects now and the malicious links, which is really good. So let's go check out Sally's cat blog and see if we can access it again without being redirected.
Nice.
Okay, awesome.
Now we get to see the cute cats instead of the happy cat.
Yeah, now we get to see all these cute cats. Wow. Okay, Sally, recent post. Okay, my site's working. Let's go check out a post and make sure those are working as well. We'll go to the blog. Recent articles. Oh, such cute cats. No bad cats anymore. Okay, let's just click on a random one here and make sure the page works still. Okay, this is looking good. It seems like everything's working as normal. And just to let you know, these cats are all of Wordfence they're all owned by Wordfence folks.
Yeah. They're residents of the Office Pause
Yes.
channel and live around the world with Wordfence programmers and QA people and owners.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. So Chloe, we have a question from someone who is wondering, why would you not just, you were already in the WP admin on that homepage. Why not just delete the code there and just be done with it?
Directly from the post?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if an attacker got access to your database, they can update every single post, every single row in there. And that includes your revisions, it includes drafts, it includes everything. So if you just go directly to your post, you're not going to get all those revisions and everything. So those will technically still be in the database if you only delete it from the post directly.
Right. And what we've seen is, if you're a hacker and you're trying to add malicious content, you're going to add it to every post. You're going to do it to every page because you get access. You basically get access to the entire database. You're going to add it anywhere that you can. And what we've seen in a lot of database attacks is a hacker basically just updating a malicious redirect and adding it to every single post if that's what they're targeting. We've seen them add it to every single JavaScript file if they're targeting the JavaScript files. So that's why we're going through this process and showing you how to clear directly from the database and not just going through your WP admin.
And so now,
one other question from Maria: why are we scared of just dropping a table and replacing it? When you're cleaning a client site and it's a rather large table, you don't necessarily want to, because there's going to be a time of downtime. If that WP table or WP posts table is gone, your content is gone. So we would rather have, the site with the malicious content there. Maybe there's a couple of posts that are still working that are important. Maybe the customer has already cleaned the homepage. So that's why we're very concerned when we are working on a client site or working even on our friend's site or even on Sally's site. It's always good to preserve even the malicious content and swap things rather than just wiping things out and then trying to replace it. So that's just kind of our philosophy. But if you're comfortable, go for it, Maria.
And one thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to bring up is if you do have malicious redirects on your site and your content isn't if you know that people can't access your site without being redirected to a malicious site, I would highly recommend enabling in a maintenance mode while you're doing all the cleaning up and stuff so that you're not infecting any of your browsers or anything like that, and they're not seeing weird stuff going on while you're cleaning up. It's just one of those ways to help protect your users as they're trying to access your site.
Right.
And so the next thing we want to do as Sally is we want to run a new scan to see if we've gotten all that, all those malicious URLs removed, those redirects.
Okay.
And so Kathy, do you want to talk a little bit about Wordfence while we let this run in the background?
Yeah, we're going to run that scan. And I just wanted to give an overview of what we're doing at Wordfence and why we're doing it. So I'm director of marketing here. And, but I have a technical background. I was a developer before I started working here. I started working here cleaning hacked sites, helping people get back on their feet. So we have a security services team that is solely focused of getting people back on their feet. This is the type of work that they do. They are very cautious and judicious when they're working with your site and you have a malicious redirect in your tables. They will make sure that your site has no downtime, if at all possible. Sometimes there might be weird glitches, or sometimes your hosting provider takes your site down if there is something going on with your site. But we work hard to make sure that your site gets back up on its feet with as little downtime as possible. We also install Wordfence on that clean site to protect your site going forward, to make sure that these types of hacks do not occur. And it comes with a 90-day guarantee. We will give you some recommendations. A report comes with that site cleaning, and we go over what we found on your site showing the malware and the redirections or the spam or the backdoors, whatever we found on your site. We'll detail all of that. And we will let you know how that hacker got in. A lot of other, cleaning services will not do that forensic work. We will actually look at the log files, as long as there are log files for the time of the attack, and tell you what actually happened. And we also provide a list of recommendations to keep your site from getting hacked in the future. Obviously, there are multiple ways of getting into a WordPress site. You have your WP admin. You have database credentials in that WP config file that need to be protected. And you also have a cPanel account. You have an email account. You have an FTP account. And all of these things could be compromised. That could lead to your site being infected by a hacker. So we will give you the recommendations in order to make sure that hack doesn't happen again. And as long as you follow those recommendations, we have a 90-day guarantee. If it does have a reintrusion, we will clean that up again. We also go through all the blacklisting that might happen, the red screen of death on your Google search or on Chrome. Search results that might be showing, Japanese characters in your search engine result pages for your site. We help you get all of that cleaned up and make sure that you can get back on your feet. We also have a threat intelligence team who takes that information, takes all of those redirects we're finding on customers' hack sites, and we take that and put it into our threat intelligence to inform all 3 million sites that are using Wordfence of what's happening with WordPress security. So as a Wordfence user, you get the benefit of that threat research. And we really want to thank our premium customers, because our premium customers are the ones that fund this. They're the ones who buy a premium license, get access to that real-time blacklist, which I'll talk about in a second. They get access to firewall rules and malware signatures immediately, as well as some other benefits. But they also get the benefit of knowing that they are protecting not just their own site, but they're protecting WordPress as a whole, because they are funding the Wordfence team and threat analysts like Chloe, like Ram, like the rest of our threat intelligence team, who are busy making sure that WordPress stays safe. They're looking for vulnerabilities and plugins before hackers can find them. They're writing the firewall rules that protect your site. So thank you to our premium customers who do that. Our mission here at Wordfence is to help you be more secure, not just with WordPress, but as a whole. We have a couple of ways of doing that. We have this, obviously, office hours where we're talking about what's happening with WordPress security, but we also have the Think Like a Hacker podcast. And we also do educational types of initiatives at WordCamps around the world. Chloe and I and Stephen, one of our developers, have spoken at a number of WordCamps around the world to help people understand how important security is. We're also very committed to the WordPress community as a whole. We made a film, Open, the Community Code, which you can find at open.film. It's 13 minutes and basically talks about what makes WordPress so unique and so special. And it's the community of people who contribute to this open source project that basically runs a third of the internet. So that's my little pitch about why Wordfence is really cool. And another pitch too, if you want to join us, we're hiring PHP developers, a quality assurance person, a security analyst. If you are a weirdo like me and like to see what hackers are doing on hack sites, I think it's fascinating, honestly. We are looking for another security analyst, especially if you're based in New Zealand or Australia. We're looking for, 24-hour coverage to help get customers on their feet. So if you're in those locations, we are looking for security analysts there. And another job will be posted later today, so check our job listings. Chloe, do you have more methods of cleaning the malware out of databases, maybe for people who are a little more advanced or for people who are scared of PHPMyAdmin?
Yeah, absolutely. I have 2 more methods to show you.
Great.
So real quick, I just wanted to show you that our scan came back clean. Our content safety is now a check mark instead of a warning symbol. And we still have issues with malware and vulnerability, which we'll come back to a little bit later to show you exactly how this happened in the first place. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit more of an advanced way to, I'm not showing you my screen, I think. There we go.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, there's the scan results. So you can see that the content safety is a check mark, but the malware scan and vulnerability scan are still giving us some things to look out for, which we'll come back to later.
Yeah.
So the next thing I'm going to do is show you a little bit of a more advanced way to clean your database from spam or redirects. This is if you're really comfortable with working directly in the database, or again, if you have a really, really large database that you don't want to pull off and clean manually and re-upload because it would just take a lot of time. So we're going to go to the SQL tab. And before we begin, I just need to reinfect the database. So let me go ahead and do that real quick.
So what are you doing there? You're basically updating.
I'm updating all the posts to add this malicious redirect and the spam link right here. So it's just setting all the post content equal to post content plus that bad stuff in there. And so if we go back to the database, just want to show you that it has been added. So this will be our reference point right here. Is this 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth row down. You can just see that malicious stuff is there. And so what we'll want to do is clean this out directly from here using the SQL feature. And I have a query set up for us. And so we'll put it here. And so what it's going to do is it's going to update C33_posts table. And so the C33 could be different depending on what the prefix is for your database. So a common standard one is WP, but for this one we have a unique one, and it's going to set all the post content equal to replace this malicious stuff with nothing right here. So what you're going to want to do is update your table, set post content equal to replacing that bad post content with nothing. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit go.
So this is an actual SQL statement that does a replace on, it searches for specific content and replaces it with something else?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And so we'll go ahead and go back to browse, and we'll take a look at that fourth one again. And we can see that there is now none of that malicious stuff in there. So we went ahead and cleaned that all up. So that's one really quick and easy way to do it. Before you do it, just make a backup to make sure nothing goes wrong. Let's go ahead and check out the site to make sure we haven't deleted anything bad or good, anything good. Everything looks like it's normal still.
Still has cute cats.
Sunbathing like a pro. Make sure the posts still work. All right. I have an issue with the photo there. I deleted it. So that's nothing to do with what I just did. I deleted a photo earlier and forgot to update it. So yeah, Sally's cat blog still works after that one. And so that's so if you're a little bit more comfortable working directly in the database, or again, if you have a really large one. And so the next method I'm going to show you is if you don't want anything to do with accessing your database content directly or making any changes directly in there. What you can do is you can use a search and replace plugin. And so I have one pre-installed. It's just search and replace. I'm not advocating for any specific plugin here or anything. Choose whichever you'd like if you have to do this. But for today, I'm using search and replace, and it actually allows you to create a backup of your database directly from the plugin. So you can go ahead and create a SQL file to create that backup. And you don't even have to go touch your database. And then you want to go to search and replace. And since I cleaned out the database, let me go ahead and reinfect it one more time with our infection query. All right, we affected 260 rows. And let's go back here, and we're going to want to search for that string. And again, make sure that you have the backslashes there in front of the quotation marks, just to escape those. And we're going to replace it with nothing. And then since I know I'm just working in the post table, I'm just going to select the post table, which is right here. And you can go ahead and do a dry run. So it's going to tell you how many rows are affected, and it's not going to actually make any updates directly. But since I know what I'm doing right now, I'm going to turn that dry run off, and I'm going to click Save Changes to Database. And I'm going to click Do Search and Replace. And we can see that 260 cells were updated. And if we go to Sally's cat blog, just verify again that we're not getting those redirects anywhere. Everything's all good.
Nice.
There you go. Cute little cat.
Excellent. Cool. So now if somebody was very nervous about using even the search and replace on a table, they could use PHP My Admin and back up the whole database again and then do it. Or you could back up just that particular table. Or there's there's a way of copying a table. You can do just a generic SQL statement and make a copy of that table. So you can do like posts_copy and work on that table. So there's multiple ways of working with the database and using these types of tools where you're not working on the live site or a live table, for example. Now, Chloe, are we going to test? Are we going to test people's knowledge or to see if they were paying attention?
Yes, actually. So if you would like to participate in our little quiz, if you were paying attention, go to Sally's cat blog. You can go to the contact area, and there is a little challenge there for you. It'll take you to a Google form. And if you submit this form with the right answer, our first 5 that get it?
Yes.
The
first five that get it right. Yeah.
Yeah, the first 5.
And it doesn't matter where, right. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you are overseas, we will still send you some swag. Just get that answer right of what the query that Chloe, AKA Sally, used to clear the database from a malicious redirect. If you get that answer correct, the first 5 people who get that correct, who were a part of this live stream, we're going to turn that form off pretty soon. So if you're watching the replay, sorry, you're going to need to come back to the live event that we have next time to get some cool Wordfence swag. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, we will ship to you, but you have to get that right. The query that Chloe/Sally used to clear her database from a malicious redirect. So now Scott Lewis is saying that Sally's cat blog is still redirecting to the cool cats for him. So I think we have a caching plugin. This is important. Yes, this is important. No, so we're using a server here that our friends at Bluehost have, and they install a caching plugin for you to improve your site performance. If you are using any kind of caching, content delivery network like Cloudflare, anything that is basically providing some kind of cache that allows your site visitors to hit that instead of engaging the entire WordPress database when they hit your site. It's important when you are cleaning things up, just like if you are making edits to your site and you are changing the entire theme, that you need to clear your cache to make sure that what is fresh and new is available to your site visitors. So go for that. Quiz. Let's see what you got. Let's see what kind of winners we come up with this week. And thank you to everyone who played along with us last time, 2 weeks ago when Ram was on, and Ram did a great review of secure coding practices. What he was talking about capabilities checks, right, Chloe?
Yeah. And how those affect plugins and create vulnerabilities if they're missing.
Right. Yeah. So thank you to those folks who participated in that quiz. They got, I think, Wordfence t-shirts. Tim is in charge of making sure everybody gets their swag. So that is pretty much it. Just wanted to thank you again for coming to Wordfence office hours and participating with us today. Thank you to our premium customers who help make this kind of educational outreach possible. If you are not yet a premium customer, it's easy to do so. It's easy to upgrade. If you're using Wordfence, you can just go premium right from the plugin, or you can do wordfence.com, and obviously we have links there to get to premium. The benefits of premium, really great. You get all of the malware signatures immediately. As soon as we see new malware, you get those signatures. As soon as we see a new type of attack happening or a new vulnerability, those firewall rules are pushed out to our premium customers immediately. So you are protected real time against these types of attacks. The people who are using the free version get those signatures and firewall rules 30 days later. You know, you're still protected as long as you're keeping things updated. Another benefit of premium that I think is the coolest thing is the real-time blacklist. Now, because Wordfence is installed on over 3 million sites worldwide, we see the attacks coming at WordPress, right? The probability of one of the sites being protected by Wordfence seeing an attack is pretty high. So we see an attack and we see that IP address, you know, nothing good is coming out of that. It's probably a bot programmed by a cat in a hoodie who has decided to attack WordPress, so that all of our premium customers are blocking that IP address. So it doesn't matter if your site's getting attacked or not, your site is with Wordfence Premium blocking that malicious IP address. Because here's the thing, those attackers aren't just going to use that IP address, they're going to rotate to another IP address in the future and attack from a different IP. And the real-time blacklists follows them. It has markers that identify malicious attacks and just kind of follows the attackers wherever they put their bets. So premium customers are going to be protected. So even if you have a vulnerability on your site, the attackers can't see it. They can't even access your site. So highly recommend checking out Wordfence Premium. Highly recommend that you check out Wordfence Central. If you are not using it yet and you have more than one WordPress site, Wordfence Central makes it so much easier to manage all of your WordPress sites running Wordfence in one place. So get your sites connected to Wordfence Central. Just go to wordfence.com/try-central. I'll pop a link into chat shortly, but if you go basically on our site, you'll find a link for Central somewhere very prominent, because it's such a cool tool and it's completely free. Whether you're premium or whether you're free, or you have a number of premium sites and a number of free sites, you can use Wordfence Central to protect, to help you make good security decisions in protecting all of those sites. Another thing that I'd really like you to check out is Wordfence login security. We are seeing, if you have ever gotten an alert that someone is using brackets login to try to log into your site, that's a brute force attack. Use login security and that will quiet that down, and use reCAPTCHA to that is resident within Wordfence login security to protect your site from those types of brute force attacks. We've got Wordfence office hours that explains that, as well as a product walkthrough that'll help you get started with that, all again free. Our job is to help you be safer on the internet, be safer against the hackers that are targeting your WordPress site and your WordPress database. We hope that this was beneficial to you. We will be back next week, and Scott will be back with us. Scott Miller, one of our customer service engineers who has been with us for a number of office hours, couldn't make it today, but we will be excited to have him back. And Chloe, hopefully you can come back.
Yep.
Awesome. Excellent. So subscribe to our channel. If you have found anything in this video helpful, give us a thumbs up down below, because that tells our management that, hey, office hours is helping people, and please let us keep doing this because we love coming to you on YouTube here. So give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and you will get alerts when we have another office hours or when we have another product video. We are here to help you be more successful with WordPress, and staying secure is going to free up a lot of resources so that you can stay focused on being successful. So thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you next week. Bye, everyone.